Hello and welcome to IAS Origin. In this video, we will discuss very important area of UPSC Civil Services examination, which generally students ignore. Because when an aspirant is preparing for this examination, they generally read, but they fail to write, they fail to revise, and they fail to strategize their preparation. So in this video, we will see how you can remember 80% of what you study. Because I always ask my student like how you remember things, because whatever we have studied yesterday, we as a human being is difficult to recall tomorrow. How is it possible that whatever we are studying today we'll be able to remember next year in our examination? So here 4 techniques we will be discussing, 1 2 3 4, and in those 4 techniques if you follow, it is very easily you can accomplish what 80% you can retain. Okay, so we'll start with the first thing. What I call is 3R rule. It means whatever you are reading, you have to read, you have to make notes, you have to revise, and then you have to recall. I'll bifurcate this thing very easily. If you see reading doesn't mean a leisure reading. Generally people open book and they started reading. And what they do is they highlight, they underline, and they end up doing everything in that book. Some other category students, what they do is when they are reading, they're writing also. And what they do, they end up writing another book. Now, this is not the technique to read for this examination. Now, here you need to understand that whenever we are reading, it means we need to read and we need to learn at the same time. It means, suppose for example, one time reading of all the books requires almost 10 months. Is it possible to revise 5 times before the examination? The answer is no. So it means whatever you're studying today, you may not get to study the same thing even after 6 months. So if you're reading today, read it carefully. That's why I'm saying reading plus learning. Now you will say, sir, what's the difference? Difference is very simple. When you are reading, you just read. But when you learn, it means you can reproduce, you can restate, you can explain the same thing. And that is what the need of this examination. Revise. Number 1 thing is notes. What will you revise? You have notes. And the second thing is that too crisp notes. It means suppose you are reading M. Lakshmikant for Indian polity, and you end up writing 1/3 of Lakshmikant in your notes, that will not serve the purpose. If you can make one single page of A4 size sheet, whole precedent, all the articles starting from article 52, if you can do the same thing, it is possible to make notes plus that to crisp notes, short notes, so that it's easy to revise. Second thing, revision. One is mental and another one is active revision. So in addition, you need both these things. Mental revision, for example, you read something, close the book, and then you try to recall. That is what I call mental revision. You close your eyes at night before sleep, you try to revise everything what you have studied in the whole day. Second type of revision is active revision. It means you are seeing the book, you are revising, but you forget, you open the book again. That is active revision. It means line by line you are revising and grasping those concepts. If you add these 6 in our 3R rule, it is very important. Whatever you read, 80% you will retain. Before moving on to the second point, I would like you to remind that I conduct 3 hours free masterclass where I have explained UPSC syllabus, PYQs, how to write answers, how to apply your own knowledge in this examination, what sources to read, how to write full test, how to analyze MCQs and mains test series, etc. etc. The link is given in the description. Registration is absolutely free. Now, second point under it is flashcards. Flashcards, generally you must have seen a colorful cards you can stick. For example, people say conceptual clarity is important for this exam. I understand conceptual clarity is important, but you cannot run away from facts and figures. If I say Article 21 right to life, why on number Article 21? Why not on 22? Why not on 32? Why on 21 only? Do you have any logic for that? The answer is no. There's no logic. It's like index, serial numbers in the constitution. Article 14, right to equality. Why on 14? There's no logic. So you analyze facts, you analyze data. And for that, you need to remember that. Simple. If WTO established in 1995, if India got independence in 1947, Indian economic reforms in 1991, etc., etc. So these flashcards will help you in remembering facts, remembering data, and all the conceptual clarity. What will you analyze? You will analyze facts and data. So for that, flashcards are the best example where you can remember. So you can use sticky notes in front of your desk. You can make short notes and put it on your desk, in front of the desk, or where you brush your teeth, you can write important data so that you remember these things. Especially names. In IR, you have to write names. Third point is frequency. In revision, people ignore frequency. It means, suppose for example, I am reciting a poem, and in that I revise the first paragraph multiple times, because whenever I have to revise, I start from the top. So I'm very strong on top of the paragraph, then middle of the paragraph, not very strong. The bottom, I generally forget. People do the same thing that they used to do in their childhood. So you divide your topics into daily. Some topics require daily revision. Some topics require weekly revision. Some topics require monthly revision. Some quarterly, some 6 monthly, and some maybe yearly. So you find out the topics. So if you write the topics list, suppose for example history, you have hard time to reading history, remembering history. Swadeshi movement 1905, yaad hi nahi ho raha. It's difficult to remember. So you say that, okay, I will revise important national movement date daily. Another topic, like you go weekly. Suppose you remember precedent for 1 or 2 days, but you forget on 3rd day, 4th day. Weekly revision. Suppose IR is your favorite. You remember one thing, Panchsheel Agreement. You remember what happened in Indio-China War, etc., etc. Monthly you can afford, and same way. So always revise on their particular weightage. If some topic requires frequency, more frequent revision, do that. Weightage is very important. This is what people ignore. And last is test. Two important things. People say full test or subject wise test. Recently, mains examination result came out. Recently, people wrote mains. Before mains, I always say to my students, write only full test. Full test means 3 hours plus GS syllabus wise. What people think is daily answer writing. Daily answer writing means when they write 1 or 2 questions daily. Writing 1 or 2 questions initially is justifiable. But after like 30 days, 60 days into your preparation, writing full test is the only solution. So test like 4 or 5 questions, subject wise, is important for knowledge retention, not for your answer writing practice. Because people struggle physically more than mentally in the mains examination. To write 2 papers in a day, 9 to 12 and 2 to 5 p.m. And that way, you need more physical stamina than mental. So that subject wise is important for knowledge, for testing your subject specific thing, for starting or your answer writing practice. But if you really want to become pro in this examination, write only full test, that is for 3 hours and full subject. Because I always conduct my batch classes in a different format. People say, sir, you started with history, now you're teaching geography, tomorrow next week you will teach economy. I say to them, it's deliberately planned. Because in the examination, you will get questions at random, one question of geography, another of history. So when every week you will get the touch of that subject, you remain in that mode of randomness, and that helps in the exam. So if you are studying like polity, I'll finish in 20 days, then I'll pick up geography, and then I'll pick up history, and then I will forget the first 3 subjects. This happened. So constant revision and constant familiarity is very important. So always remember that give test, full test, very important. And the most important thing is analysis. People just give test. So suppose, for example, test is of your 3 hours mains examination, 2 hours for prelims examination. You analyze that test even the similar amount of time. For prelims, you may need more than 2 hours to analyze your test. But for mains examination, you give at least 2.5 hours to analyze your one mains test, where you have made the mistake, how well you can write introduction, what exactly you can add in your answer body, what exactly you can improve in your conclusion, see the feedback, see the marks, see the relativity among other students. Very, very, very important. So I hope you understand the importance of revision. Don't forget to register for the free workshop of 3 hours masterclass of UPSC Civil Services. Registration link is given in the description. And subscribe IAS Origin to get more videos like this. Thank you and have a nice day.